Welcome into Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Appreciate you joining us. On today's show, we will preview the Seahawks' final preseason game of 2022 as they take on the Dallas Cowboys, and a lot of questions when it comes to that quarterback position. Will the starting quarterback be named? Will it be figured out after this game? We'll discuss all that and more in one moment. Before we do, we are in the midst of a like battle with the Cowboys report. Taking on the Cowboys this week, we got to beat Tom Downey and the gang over there, right? We are, for this week, at 1,300 likes. The Cowboys report's at 1,600. So we got some catching up to do. We got to catch up with the guys. So like today's video so we can keep pace with the Cowboys report, and we'll get started with today's show. So what I'm watching for in this final preseason game of the 2022 season, the running back concerns for Seattle. They're there when you look at this situation. Kenneth Walker III looks like it. He's not going to play. Pete Carroll is hopeful that Kenneth Walker III will be ready for week one, but says there's no timetable for his return. So that's not great for the rookie running back, that the way things are laying out. Remember, what we heard when he got hurt initially was, he'll be back for week one. And now the doctors have said, hold up a bit. There's no timetable yet. And already had the issues with Rashaad Penny. It looks like he's fine, but we'll see. Kind of playing the waiting game of sorts if he's going to be back week one at 100%. So that leaves the Seahawks running back room as this right now. Penny, Walker, and Travis Homer, as well as DJ Dallas in that backfield for Seattle. And in particular, DJ Dallas is who I want to talk about here. DJ Dallas could be Seattle's third down running back. What we saw from him against the Bears was really good. 4 catches, 52 yards against the Steelers, had 10 carries, 73 yards, and also had a touchdown catch in that game against Pittsburgh. He has been really solid, and he has answered the call for Seattle. I like what I've seen from DJ Dallas, and so that makes me ease the concerns from what DJ Dallas as well as what Travis Homer have done here. There's no need to rush Kenneth Walker III back, and Rashaad Penny, make sure that he's 100% and don't overwork him either. It is a balancing act of some sort. So the Seahawks running back room, a year removed without, Chris Carson. I say year removed, first year without Chris Carson. This group, I think, is going to be just fine, that they can overcome these issues they've already dealt with. How concerned are you about the Seahawks running backs at this point? Scale it for me 1 to 10. Put a number on it where your concern is for the Seahawks running backs. This is our pinned comment, and you might get an ad break. If so, take advantage of it. While the ads play, and get your votes in. Scale it 1 through 10, how concerned you are about the Seahawks running backs. I'm also watching for the opportunity that is in front of Drew Lock here. Now, is it an ideal opportunity for Drew Lock? No, he's not starting, but he's expected to play the majority of the game on Friday against the Dallas Cowboys. And so I would think that the way things start is Drew Lock ends up coming in and gets to play some with the ones. Geno Smith will start with the ones. But then from there on out, if you're Drew Lock, I think you got to take chances. You got to be a gamer and just unleash and see what happens. The last time both these guys were on the field together, Drew Lock had a solid night. 11 of 15, 102 yards and 2 touchdowns. Geno Smith was pretty good too. 10 of 15, 101 yards and 1 rushing touchdown. So can Drew Lock stand out enough to do better than Geno Smith to earn this starting job? He's got to play from behind, essentially, as this has not been a fair competition. He's got to really ball out in this game against Dallas if he wants to win that starting job. If you think Lock will play well, if he will answer the call and potentially win this starting job, type 2 in the comments section. Show some love for Drew Lock. Type his jersey number 2 if you think that he will play well. Today's show is presented by BetUS, and BetUS is offering quite a deal right now, folks. A 125% deposit bonus when you use the promo code Seahawks125 at checkout. If you go to chatsports.com/bet, then this deal is available to you just for Seahawks Today viewers with that promo code Seahawks125. and a 125% deposit bonus. So you may be asking, what does that all mean, Tyler? Well, let's say that you bought a pizza, and then you were given another pizza for free, and then a slice of another pizza for free. That's what we're offering here with BetUS. Sign up now, chatsports.com. You can bet on this game against the Cowboys as well. Chatsports.com/bet, 125% deposit bonus with promo code Seahawks125. Also, what to watch for, Dee Eskridge, his preseason debut. Somebody that we have not seen a whole lot of since he became a member of the Seattle Seahawks. Missed the first 2 preseason games with an injury. And now he has returned to practice this week after dealing with that hamstring. Played in 10 games as a rookie in 2021. Only had 10 catches, though. And he spent part of 2021 on IR with a concussion. So with that, what are we going to see from Dee Eskridge? I don't really know. Just because we have not seen a whole lot of him in this last year or so that he's been in Seattle, there's just not a whole lot of tape there to measure on with Dee Eskridge. It's the great unknown of what exactly he's going to bring to the table. But nonetheless, it'll be fascinating to see how that unfolds for Dee Eskridge. Now, the rest of the wide receiver room, you also have Marquise Goodwin battling for a roster spot. And then Freddie Swain, what does he have to bring to the table? Once you get past your top 2 receivers of DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, it's anyone's guess who's going to make this final roster. It is a wide-open contest, and that wide receiver room, very competitive for those final roster spots. And I love the rookies as well. Bo Melton, Young, those guys, what can they do to make a statement that they belong on the active roster as opposed to the practice squad? Also looking out for the rookie cornerbacks. We've talked about them a lot on this channel over the last couple of months, how much they impressed in OTAs and minicamp, but then that first preseason game against the Steelers did not work out pretty well for them. They did bounce back last week against Chicago. Here is the Seahawks cornerback depth chart right now. You can see that they are behind Sidney Jones and Artie Burns, but still have a chance to potentially be the starting cornerbacks for Seattle, that they could be the outside corners, that it's not out of question, especially with Trey Brown on the PUP list for the Seahawks at this point. So we'll see if they can take advantage of that opportunity and what they do for an encore after both of them played really well against Chicago last week. More on that in just a second. We want you to subscribe to Seahawks Today. Here on the channel, we're bringing you nonstop Seattle Seahawks coverage each and every day. YouTube.com/SeahawksTV is the link. And we got a watch party coming up on Friday with the matchup with the Dallas Cowboys. Coverage begins 7:45 Eastern, 4:45 Pacific with a little pregame show. We'll be reacting to the game in real time, answering your questions, having a few drinks in hand, and then we'll do our live postgame show afterwards as well. Seahawks Watch Party right here on Seahawks Today, Friday, 7:45 Eastern, 4:45 Pacific. So here's the numbers I was talking about Coby Bryant and Tariq Woolen. As you can see, this is according to Pro Football Focus. The numbers for both of them against Pittsburgh were bad. Woolen with a 35.6 defensive rating. Bryant with a 47.5. But look what they did to step up against the Bears. Woolen at 76.1, and then Bryant against Chicago, 72.6. Both those guys took drastic steps the right direction. I'm very excited about both these guys. Hopefully that game against Pittsburgh, they just got the nerves out of them, and we see the versions that they brought against Chicago going forward. We'll see. Who has a bigger year? Is it Coby Bryant? Is it Tariq Woolen? Which day 3 cornerback selection will step up and have a bigger year for the Seahawks? Is it Coby Bryant? Type CB. If it's Tariq Woolen, type TW. Let me know in the comments section below. Last but not least, the fight for 53 to make the final 53-man roster. This is really fascinating as you have some good players competing for these spots. Marquise Goodwin, who has Olympic speed, but has not been available. Will he get one of those spots? He's a name to watch for this Seattle Seahawks team, if he'll make it or not. Signed by the Seahawks back in May. I'm intrigued to see what Goodwin does if he's going to be one of those guys. Another name I'm watching for is J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, the newest member of the Seattle Seahawks. Will he play tight end? Will he play wide receiver? Or will he even be there at all? That remains to be seen. Here was a guy that was picked in the same draft as DK Metcalf and has shown nothing as a player in the NFL and, quite frankly, did not play good in that last preseason game either. Then there's L.J. Collier. I told you in our roster projection show, I think he's going to make the roster. This was a name that was brought up probably more than any other player this offseason as a trade or cut candidate, and here he is with what it looks like a pretty decent shot to make this roster the way things have worked out for him. Mike Jackson, he's looked really good in training camp, but is there a spot for him? Has he done enough? That remains to be seen. Then you look at Marquise Blair, can play corner, can play safety, provide some versatility. Do you choose Blair? Do you choose Jackson? That remains to be seen. We should have a lot of those questions figured out after Friday's preseason game against Dallas. Your turn to be the GM. Name a player who should make the final 53-man roster for the Seahawks. Let me know. Give me one name, whether it's somebody we mentioned or somebody we did not mention. Let me know in the comments section somebody you think should make the final roster for the Seattle Seahawks.